Michael, Neil, so excited to have this conversation with you. Thanks for joining me today.
Absolutely.
So I'm curious, how are you both hearing your customers speaking about sustainability?
I think that we're seeing a big change in the way sustainability is viewed. It's moving much more into the mainstream. So we had our Big Connect conference recently, and what I was really surprised was, how front of mind sustainability was. And many people are starting to realize that sustainability isn't just about the elements of sustainability and making ourselves sustainable, but there's benefits as well that come from sustainability. People don't realize that cost saving actually underlies, right? There's certainly you have to spend money up front, but in the long run, if you're efficient and you're smart about how you're using the resources, you can actually save money as well.
I think sustainability remains top of the mind and top of agenda for customers. I think the biggest change that I've seen is customers are moving from broad announcements about their commitments, say whether it's, getting to net zero before 2030 or 2040. And what they're really now focused on is, how do I build measurable, actionable execution plans that are grounded in business priorities? And oftentimes it's the way that sustainability now shows up in the boardroom or in the C-suite, it comes through things like resiliency or adaptability. Now what we're really seeing them is to start to focus in on areas that they know are proven pathways. So you see the focus narrowing to, promising areas such as transportation and logistics, very appropriate, to energy consumption, or even things like, value chains and things along those lines.
How do you think that this fear of greenwashing within executives?
Every organization on the planet should be loud and proud about their commitment to sustainability, the action plans that they have in place, and the progress they're making against it. The reluctancy that I see sometimes is really a reflection of those leaders either not being confident in their action plan, or those leaders feeling as though they don't have the data to really be able to measure progress on that end.
You get, great marketing brochures saying how we've got these targets for 2040, but when it's 2040 so far away, many of the companies, pat themselves on the back potentially instead of focusing around, how can we move the needle today? And I think that, again, consumers looking at these glossy reports have a level of skepticism when everybody's doing it, but action isn't being taken. And what's important then is what you said, which is let's find a way to measure the carbon and move the needle. And that's really what we do. We measure the amount of fuel used, we measure the activity of the vehicles. I'm afraid to say, or maybe encouraged to say, that regulation, whether we do it or not, will take the path there and make sure that everybody is accountable. And being able to account for that with data and being able to look at the data and say, this is practical, manage towards those goals. We have a saying at Geotab, which is you cannot manage what you don't measure.
This problem is too big for any one organization to solve. And so we are very lucky to partner with teams like Geotab to make that happen. Neil, I wonder about your thinking on that area. I know data is very important for Geotab, and you're certainly empowering a lot of your customers, but what are you seeing?
Yeah, I think that's good. Companies that are leaders in their space really need to show the rest of the world, by internally, following the same ideals, right? So Google has been world-class at making sure that they don't just talk about sustainability, that they commit to it internally. And both of us have an opportunity in our respective industries to really provide accelerators. We can provide product that not just makes our company better, but we can make other companies more sustainable. And that's why we almost have this obligation, this role to fill, to go out there and say, what can we put into our own product? The idea being that if you look at a fleet of vehicles and you say, well, what do these vehicles do? A certain percentage of these vehicles are going to be ideal to move to EVs, right? Just based on the load they're carrying, the range, where they're going. Let's focus on those first. Let's get some quick wins. Let's get big bang for buck. Let's get that moved over. And let's not tackle something where we're going to inevitably end in failure. And so making sure we show companies that path is going to be really important, and then help them manage towards that path.
One of the big reasons I joined Google Cloud was we were one of the first major companies to be 100% renewable. I think it was in 2017, if I remember correctly. And we've been on that journey every single day since. And one of the things that I love is we have a bold ambition of we're working towards 24/7 carbon free by 2030. And even more so is this idea of not only are we propelling our own journey on this front, but we think about how we can 10x it. And Neil, I'd argue this partnership's a great example and something that we would point to as a great proof point of how do you 10x this? If you think about the Geotab partnership, you're taking some of the best of the capabilities of our overall platform. You're taking some of the key reporting things that we make available to all of our customers, and you're packaging it up in a much more powerful sort of solution for our overall customers. So there's a lot of things that we're extremely proud of on that front.
Feel like there's a moment happening right now where we're starting to evaluate sustainability reporting on par with financial reporting.
The customers we serve is every single executive and every single board member feels highly accountable to making sure that they're advancing their overall goals, but they're actually reporting progress in a responsible way. And so really being able to help equip them with the right measurements and data to be able to stand behind their convictions and their action plans, I know that's an area we can help.
So really, data is critical for the C-suite.
Data is absolutely critical to the C-suite.
My add to that would be that I agree that data is incredibly critical to the C-suite in order to, again, measure where you are. But I think the insights derived from the data through the interaction with technologies on cloud and our partners that have domain expertise in this area, those insights are really what help, I think, build trust in the reporting that they're putting out there to their consumers and to our mutual customers.
The other thing that we have to understand is that the vast amounts of data that our fleets generate is very, very difficult to wrap your head around, to understand. And I'm very excited about the progress of things like large language models and generative AI and big models to analyze this data in order to infer proper insights that guide us correctly to where we need to take action.
And it's only with those proper insights from that volume of data, inspected correctly, that again, you can base these reports in verifiable, auditable information.
Totally agree. It's a two-step process. Step one is you've got to gather the data. Step two is then you need to analyze, immerse yourself in the data. And step three is to take action. And really, all of those building blocks are fundamental if we're going to use this data to be more sustainable.
At Google, we think about sustainability not just about emissions reductions. We're also thinking about how are these sustainable business transformations actually happening? How are we taking these new data and insights that are being generated and perhaps even building new routes to market for our mutual customers? So I know, Michael, this is near and dear to your heart. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, we're really looking for what are the top issues that each industry is trying to solve for, and how best can we advance that? So we're very proud of the work that we're doing, say, in financial services, where we're really helping organizations think about sustainable lending practices, or in retail, and really helping customers sort of think about how they might be able to recycle more sustainable goods in the overall process.
The companies that work with us, they got to worry about things like bottom line, getting the goods to the right place at the right time. And I think we've been able to blend those two together in a way that is really beneficial to our customers. And the way that we kind of do that is really about taking a data-driven approach. And using the data, we try and leverage the services that we can get in Google, the advanced AI services and stuff, to see what can we actually do to really move the needle.
It's a really data-driven problem, one that we think we're uniquely able to help our partners and customers solve, and we're thrilled to be doing that work with Geotab. So thank you both for being here today.
Absolutely.
I really appreciate it.